Good morning, everyone, and welcome. This is our second session on career readiness and also on workforce development. And our special guest of honor is Carol, who will introduce herself from Norwalk Public Schools. Many of you know her. She has done some incredible work for us. And if you have not seen her presentation at the School Counselors Community of Practice or at the CISCA conference last year, we had a wealth of folks who wanted more information and how she did this. And what we're sharing with you today is really about not so much the heavy lift of doing this work, but really about how you can actually walk away with something today that is really going to help you as far as resources to get you started. And that is really what the goal is. It's just taking that first step in the right direction. So we're very excited that she decided to work with us on this. And as you know, we have 4 more sessions left after this, right? Or three more sessions left after this. So we're very thrilled to have her today. And if you don't mind showing the PowerPoint slides at this point, and then I'll get started. One of the things that I want to just start off by saying is that I really appreciate all the work that school counselors and the directors do day in and day out. As you know, this is part of our career domain, including with social emotional development and, of course, academic. And these all intersect, right? They're all integrated together. And today she's really going to talk about that crosswalk of how this actually works within the context of the school counselor's framework. The idea here is very simple. What we're trying to do is to create a roadmap for every child and every student to be informed regarding not only classroom, uh, school assignments, but real world experiences like internships and apprenticeships and credentialing and dual enrollment. So all these things really matter. So we're really moving in a different direction than we have been many years ago because we really are concentrating nationally. We are concentrating on career readiness and workforce development. And the key here is really about collaboration. Who are our interest holders? It's families, it's the government, businesses, of course, K through 12 education, not 6 to 12, but actually elementary that we have to include, and of course, higher ed. And Carol is going to actually show you how today she has made all those connections. Next slide, please. Oh, thank you. Perfect. So the one thing that this isn't just a random act. We have been working on this with our strategic operating plan for the state board. And if you look at the left-hand side and see where it says ensure safe and healthy learning environments, that includes us. And look what they're talking about. Again, our domains. And then on the right-hand side, you're also going to see on the bottom, it says create multiple career pathways. So how do we engage our students? How do we keep them interested? How do we have them have a sense of belonging with the school community? And Carol is really going to talk about that in detail today. So Carol, can you take a moment to introduce yourself? And in the meantime, while Carol is introducing herself, can you please just put in the chat what district you are from and your name, and that would be great. Thank you.
Good
Carol?
morning, everybody. Thank you so much for being here and joining us again for session number 2. We are so excited. My name is Carol Wilshire-Toth. I'm the Education Administrator for School Counseling and Workforce Development with Norwalk Public Schools. Important to know, a former school counselor myself from K to 12 in my career journey. I made a lot of commitments to myself along my journey as a school counselor K to 12, both personally and professionally. And one of them was that if I were ever having an opportunity to create systems for school counselors, which serve students, that I would do it. If I was ever in a position to make impact, I would absolutely want to systematize what that impact could look like. And so Some of the things we're going to talk about today is how we can systematize and, as we talked about, just simply use what we have at our fingertips to really create systems that support our staff, because I am a leader in servitude to my school counselors I work with across the district, K to 12. And so thank you all for being here today. Really excited about the conversation.
Sorry about that. I'm on mute. So our agenda today, well, our
Sorry.
our, our objective is really, again, concentrating on tier one. And what does tier one look like for college and I'm sorry, for career readiness and workforce development? And then we also want you to be able to be reflective on your own tier one process in your schools and what does that actually look like? And then how can you make it stronger and make those improvements in regards to tier one? Next slide. And for our agenda today, uh, first, we're going to really talk about the alignment to our school counselor framework, because that is always important. And we're going to talk about student success plans um, and how we can coordinate that effort. And again, about integration. And then we're going to actually get into more detail, or I should say Carol's going to get into some really good detail around tier one supports and how you can roll this out regarding workforce development. And then we always will have resources available for you that will be put into the chat again today, but we will go through some of those resources that are going to be impacting tier one. Carol?
Thank you so much. And so, thinking about our Connecticut School Counseling Framework as our guide, really pulling out our tier one resources, collaborating for student success is tremendously important. So, I just have a couple of facts on the screen here today about Norwalk Public Schools. Please feel free to read them at your leisure, as you may have seen them in the last session. But we want you to think about, as Dr. Traverso mentioned, what is one area of data? What is one area that your data is suggesting that you explore? What is one area that you feel passionate about, that you want to see movement in terms of serving your students? And what is that takeaway from today's session that you can replicate in your own school or district? One of the things that we're going to be doing as a community is I'm going to be hosting optional meetings. They're drop-in meetings. And so I'll be sending a link to your calendar today afterward. If you are in session one, no need to put your email in the chat. I've already sent out those invitations. If you are new to us today in session two, please feel free to go into the chat and just simply include your email, and I will add you to our drop-in meetings. Again, feel free to drop in. You're thinking about something, wondering about how I can do this, or even thought partnership, whatever the case. And certainly they're optional. So you are welcome to come and join myself and others for some thought partnership. And what I wanted to do was, I really took a look at the role of the school counselor and see, wanted to put and share with us how the counselor role evolved, because how do we do the things we do, and the whys behind it. And I thought it was really interesting. I'm a little bit of a history buff. And so you'll see here the different eras, what the primary focus was of the school counselor during those eras or during those times, and their role at that time, and how, when we look at the right-hand column, and certainly I shared this with my school counseling team, we looked at the right-hand column and said, oh, that's okay. That's all the things. And that's how we came to do all the things, as we talk about most often. So I thought that that was a little interesting journey in time that I wanted to share with everyone. So I wanted to talk today about our student success plans. We know our state guidance asks us to have student success plans in place from grades 6 to 12. And I included the link here because oftentimes I will tell you the State Department of Education in Connecticut is a great resource. And so that is linked here so that when you're thinking of doing something, implementing something, I always connect with the state website. Oftentimes they have exemplars, they have templates, they have ideas, and they have great resources. And so I know that our school districts do our student success planning in many different ways. And so I'm just going to talk about how we do student success planning today. However, knowing that we all do them differently, and it's just a lot of great thought partnership. And I'd love to hear about your student success plans as well. So when we think about it in the context of Norwalk Public Schools, student success plans in our middle schools are done with the counselors in the schools, and they're done informally so, and they follow the students from sixth grade, seventh, and eighth grade. What I included here for you is just a sample on the left-hand side of what it can look like. Because on the left-hand side, this is a Google form created student success plan, which is a tool that the counselor can use when pushing into the classroom to do the student success plans with the students. The thing I like about the Google form method is that it is electronic and it follows the students. Our middle school counselors, our middle schools are sixth, seventh, and eighth. They actually loop with our students. So they'll start with our sixth grade students and families, and then they will journey with them through seventh and eighth grade. So it's really nice that they house the database of student success plans year over year, and they can see that particular growth. What you're looking at on the right side of the screen is our high school student success plans, and we call them our plan of study. Here you'll see that I have cohort 2027 plus, and we all know that that particular cohort is the first one that has required our 0.5 financial literacy requirement for graduation. And so when you take a look at this plan of study, this is really particularly about the students' academic journey and the support and all of the meetings they have around that particular journey. And so this is filled in. You'll see all of our requirements for graduation at Norwalk Public Schools listed here. So you'll see our English is 4, our US history is 1, world language is 2, and so on. And this will be filled in electronically by our school counselors. They house it electronically or they house it in a binder. And this is filled in beginning in ninth grade as they work with the student. So I wanted to take a pause here and talk about, how we do our student success plans here in Norwalk and see if anyone had any questions about them. Also, if you had anything you'd like to share about how you do your student success plans, we'd love to hear what you're working on and what's working.
Okay. What are the other questions on the Google form from Denise?
Oh, okay. So that's something that I can share with us. So the questions are about, they really encompass academic, social, emotional learning in the career domain. And so those are the questions. I don't have it pulled up in front of me. That's something I can share with us when we come to our drop-in meeting. I'll be able to share what that looks like. We can demo through it together and take a look at that. But it's all about their journey through middle school. And so it's an actual, it's a lengthy form. You'll see that there's a few sections here to the form, and it's really about their journey and their goals in those 3 different areas. Great question.
Carol, can you talk a little bit about the domains again and how this crosses over? And also, I just want to let the counselors know, we know that this is not quote unquote your assignment regarding student success plans. This is supposed to be a whole school initiative. So we are recognizing that. And Carol is just wanted to make sure that we sort of move the needle when it came to identifying the needs of our students. And what better way is to have a systematic approach, which would be the student success plans because it is tier 1. Okay, go ahead, Carol. Sorry.
Yes. And so when we think about our Connecticut comprehensive framework, we really work in 3 domain areas. One is academic, one is social emotional learning, and one is the career domain, which we use for workforce development. So those are the 3 different domain areas set forth to us by the State Department of Education. We tie our developmental guidance to it, our curriculum writing, and these are the 3 domains that school counselors are really working in really at all times. And so the way that these particular domains interplay with our student success plans is that it's all encompassing. So for example, I may meet with one of my high school students with their student success plan, and we may begin the conversation about academics, but then we go into social emotional when we're wondering about the particular grade, or we see that the class isn't going well, and what are the barriers and challenges, and how do we support that? So we go into the social emotional learning, and then we also go into the career domain, because then it becomes, well, I know that you're interested and being an electrician. We've talked about your post-secondary plan. You want to be an electrician. So English and math are really critically important to be an electrician, because one of the things we're going to do as you journey into your trade is they're going to give you an English test. You're going to have a math test. And so that's why this matters. And so that's how we really include all of the three domains in the work. They are really part and parcel of the same, oftentimes of the same conversation.
Great, Carol. Thank you. And another question from Courtney. Do you use a similar survey for the high school students to cover social, emotional, as well as academic and career?
That's a great question. So in the high school, we really use our surveys for things like our panorama survey data. We use Naviance for our interest surveys, for our explorer surveys through Naviance. I will tell you that social emotional is kind of interwoven within that, but I will say that really for us at our high schools, we are really focused upon post-secondary planning, and we infuse our social emotional into. So we don't have a separate social emotional survey at the high school level for that, but I will say it is very interwoven. When school counselors are supporting and delivering Naviance surveys, I mean, all of those conversations come into play um, at that time. And that's a really good question. Great questions. Any other questions y'all are thinking about when it comes to our student success planning? And what I like about it is the state allows us the flexibility to have it look and be in the way we need it to be to serve our students. I know our staff really appreciate the systems and what they look like, because it's really supportive tools to their work.
And some of the tools that you utilize too is the DESA, the Devereaux Student Strength Assessment as well, correct? And is that elementary only?
The DESA has been wonderful. We have done the DESA for years now, K to 8. We piloted it in one of our high schools last year. The DESA has been a game changer, because not only does it rate our K to 5 students are rated by teachers, our 6, 7, 8, and high school are self-reported rated by our students. And it really shows our students' needs. We're able to assemble them into tier 2 supports, and also can give support on the back end within DESA. We are really great proponents of DESA.
Yeah, and it is a strength-based social emotional assessment. And it is actually, there's several of them. So there's a mini that only has 8 questions, and then there's a longer version when you feel like you need to, maybe there might need to be some more intervention. And then also they have the high school version where they have the self-report, and also a middle school self-report where they actually report, the students actually report on how they're doing with social emotional learning. And then I have another question. Is this done during advisory time?
Great question. So this is not in the middle school. It's more flexible. It's done when our counselors are meeting with their students doing push-ins. So there's more flexibility to it. In the high schools, this is being done continuously. A lot of times around course selection, there's a real focus upon that time. Course selection for us is February, March, and April at our 4 high schools. However, this is really a year-round type of push. And so is the middle school as well, but more informal class push-ins. But these tools are used very often, especially the high school success plan.
Does anyone want to share with us about their student success plans and implementation? And even if you aren't doing it, talk about that as well, and how what your struggles are and your challenges. Okay, we have good wait time, Carol and I. So we'll give you a few more seconds if anyone wants to come off mute and talk about it. Okay, Carol, we'll keep going. Maybe we'll get some volunteers later.
Yes, it may come to
Oh,
mind as, oop, okay.
I have one more. Emily, is there an additional or additional form at Norwalk other than the grad requirements?
So for the high school, you're looking at our student success plan form. This is the form. So to answer your question, yes, we have another plan of study cohort 2026 because the credits are different. We don't have the required point 0.5 financial literacy, as we all know. So now this will serve us 2027 plus, unless or until a grad requirement changes again, and then another form will be made to fit that specific cohort. This is the basis of the student success plan. This is the form. This is the catalyst for the meetings, the conversations, and everything that comes from it.
That's a great conversation to have, though, to review sort of the questions that we already have, and actually doing your groups, maybe that's a discussion you can have and come up with some other creative ideas for depending on your school. Yeah,
Yes.
I like that. The next question is, we also use school links from grades 6 to 8 that holds our success plans, that follows the student all the way through high school.
Wonderful.
That's
So
great.
that is great. And my understanding is School Links is kind of like the Naviance equivalent, if I've got that correct. And so whatever platform you use that works for you is the right thing. And it doesn't have to be fancy or have the bells or whistles. And so I'm glad there's things that you're using out there that are working for you. That's excellent. And it's really about looking at your resources and how you can position them in a way of strength. So thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, that's really great. And I'm sure there's other creative ideas out there as well. And I love the fact that you're talking about the student success plans, that the Naviance and School Links or any platform is just a tool to help with supporting students. Isabel, we use an electronic meeting sheet when conducting our individual student meetings. Um, each student's meeting sheet is used for their 4 years in high school.
Wonderful. So it sounds like you have a nice system and record of the meetings that are happening. Would you like to speak more about that?
Yeah, Isabel, good morning. Isabel, for some reason, we're not hearing you. Ah, okay. That's too bad. Thank you though for sharing. Maybe next time we can figure this out, and we will be able to like hear what you're doing at your school. That would be great to hear that. Carol?
Okay, thank you so much. I'm really looking forward to learning more about your student success plans if you decide to come to the drop-in meetings and have thought partnership around that. We wanted to pivot now to workforce development and school counseling. And what is workforce development? It's this huge word. Workforce development is how we support our students in their post-secondary planning. And for us at Norwalk Public Schools, we have four high schools, three of which are traditional, and one is a P-TECH high school. If you've heard of P-TECH before, a dual credit bearing high school where our students will graduate with associate's degrees. And so we don't have a technical high school. When I was a counselor many years ago in Bridgeport, we had an amazing technical high school. And so workforce development at Norwalk Public Schools is bringing in the licensures, the trades, and all of the things that support our post-secondary planning, which isn't just 2 year and 4 year. So that is really the role of workforce development in our district, and strengthening our Connecticut's economy and workforce. One of the charges I have at Norwalk Public Schools is not only to introduce and build an ecosystem of workforce K-12 for our students, but also for their families. I do evening workshops with our families. I do licensures. I do trades with them. Also, the same in the high school, but also for families as well. And so we have a lot of in-class and out-of-class experiences that I'll dive into, but I wanted to name how the State Department of Education is supporting our career pathways, which is one way we bring in workforce development, and our workforce readiness. So I'm going to click on their very valuable resource, and we'll give it a second for my screen to change for y'all here. Okay. Can y'all see the 15 ways up on your screen? Great.
Yes,
Thank you so
yes.
much. So as I very slowly go through, we can take a look at the ways that the State Department of Education is supporting our workforce development work. And before I turn it over to Dr. Traverso, it's important to note that our career domain in our Connecticut Comprehensive School Counseling Framework is how we also tie in workforce development because those standards and objectives are stated very clearly for us.
I'm sorry, I am typing at the same time. I apologize. Nancy and Kathy, we definitely will take care of you so that you can have the drop in. Carol, just so I don't know, do you have a link for your drop in so that maybe we can put it into the chat as well for them?
Oh, sure. Yes, I can do that. Should I do that at the end when I turn off
Yeah,
the? Okay,
yeah,
great.
that'd be super awesome. Okay, so I apologize. I got a little distracted. Yeah, this is fantastic. So basically, going back to where we were talking about our board report and how we're talking about career pathways. This actually outlines it in 15 different ways. And so not only are we talking about workforce innovation, and then also credentialing is another big push this current year and going into 2028, but also about professional learning resources, because that is critical. If we don't have the resources and the professional learning and the coaching and the technical assistance to provide for our staff, then how are we going to help our students? And so this really helps and pushes that needle as well. And there, as you know, the CTE, the career clusters have been updated, which is very exciting. And so I will actually make sure that I put in a couple of links in regards to that. Of course, Connecticut has adopted those career pathways. And we will also put in the link, this 15 ways in your in the chat for you as well. Did you want to add anything on to that, Carol, as well?
I just think that, looking at the new career pathways, the career clusters, I should say, from the 16 to 14 is really helpful in guiding the work, and that this particular document is also just a very helpful guide to our opportunities, to the different things available to us in our work, and how many of these areas are very supportive to the work. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and hopefully my screen moved for y'all. We are going to go ahead and talk about more workforce development here at Norwalk Public Schools. And what I want to share with y'all is having built the ecosystem, the exciting part is you get to start from the beginning and think about the needs of your particular district. And so my particular district really had a need for trade, technical, and licensure because we don't have a technical school. So what you're looking at on the left-hand side, I had demoed for us in our school counselor community of practice a few months ago. And in essence, you'll see here the workforce development. This is the page that reflects the website that was created. And so if you look at the very bottom in green, it says norwalkps.org/career training. That is the website that you can go to. The resources on the website are broken up into 5 lanes. It is a one-stop shop that I developed. I developed it for school counselors and faculty. I developed it for students and families and anyone at large in the community to use it or outside of our community. It is a free public open website that I actually update on a consistent basis with all different opportunities. This came out of my work as a school counselor at the high school level. When I was a school counselor at the high school, I was really strong at 4-year and 2-year for my post-secondary plans, but I wasn't as strong in the trade route and the other different areas. So creating this, you'll see at the very top, there are different sections in the website. We have the apprenticeship, job, and training opportunity section. We have an internship section, a volunteer section, and we have year-round enrichment. Many things on the site are free. Some things are paid, but certainly at a lower cost. And we also had job posting and opportunities as well, all with the lens of typically an associate's degree or lower for greater access. And what I do want to share about the website is that it is free and open to everyone. So it is not just Norwalk specific resources at all. It is multi-town resources. So you all could use it actually as a resource starting today if you choose to. My trade partners are on the website under the apprenticeship and training section. So when you're working with a student or family and they want to go into an HVAC or plumbing apprenticeship, that is on the site and that information is there for you at your fingertips. So I hope you're able to use this as a resource. Any questions on that before I move over to the workforce development guide that can also support your work as well?
Maybe you can just take a moment there may be some newer counselors who are just fresh out of graduate program. And so maybe just taking a moment to just sort of define the difference between, because we're throwing out a lot of words here, career development, career readiness, career workforce development. I'm sorry, workforce development. So can you just take a moment just so that they can have a clearer picture of what that means?
Sure, thank you. So when we think about workforce development, it's a really big word. And what we really mean is the ways in which we support our students in their post-secondary planning. So we know that for post-secondary planning, they're looking at a 2-year, a 4-year. They may be looking at going into the workforce. They may be looking at a gap year. They may be looking at a military career, or they may be looking at a trade. And so using workforce development are the opportunities and the pathways and the partnerships that we make in order to support them in their post-secondary planning. I'm going to date myself here, but many years ago when I was in high school, it was like, do you want to go to a 4-year or 2-year? And those were the options. And now those options have grown over the areas that I just mentioned. And it's how are we supporting our students to get through those pathways to successfully realize their post-secondary plans. I always say post-secondary plans are dreams realized because these are our students' dreams. These are the things they want to accomplish and the people they want to be. And so that's how we use things like the apprenticeships, job training, volunteering, internship, and enrichment as experiences in workforce that support our post-secondary planning. Are there any questions at all about that come to mind? When you have an opportunity, take a time to take a look at that particular website. And you may have seen it demoed in the community of practice, but any questions at all about the website and we know the why as to why that it's been created, but we want to share it with everyone.
Let's take this. So, hi, I have one question in the chat. Emily, I'm looking at the website and have a question. The opportunities listed within each section are those opportunities that are a result of explicit partnerships between Norwalk Public Schools and the organizations and companies.
Great question. Those, the opportunities you see on the website are from partnerships that have been created through the Workforce Development Department. They are not explicitly signed. There are no particular MOUs or anything like that. So it's not formalized in that way. However, the opportunities that are there are ones that have been created through partnership work in this particular division.
Thank you, Carol. Emily, does that answer your question? Yes, thank you. Yes. Okay. Any other questions? Okay. Oh, sorry, I have a student in my office, so I'm on headphones. No worries at all. We understand as school counselors.
Yes. And feel free also, that brings up another point. Feel free to use this website with your students and their families. We often use it with students and families. And again, it's not Norwalk specific. So see what meet your needs, how this can support you, and teach them the website because it's ever changing. So with that, I'm going to go over to our workforce development guide. This is a guide that I authored a few years ago and I update consistently. This is all about workforce development at Norwalk Public Schools. This link is available on our website, so you're able to open the guide and read through it and see how we provide workforce development in the school system. So I just wanted to mention it as a resource to y'all, and a little light reading in your free time if you're interested in taking a deeper dive into it. Okay, so now I'm going to pivot over to some post-secondary planning, and we talked about supporting those particular goals and plans that students have. And here are just some of the tools that we wanted to share with you that you're able to use with your students and families. One of the things that we did about 4 years ago is we created career pathways in grades 6 to 12 at Norwalk Public Schools. And that sounds like this big thing. And what we did was I went in and I looked at the course catalog for all of our 9 schools, 6 to 12. And I did some backwards planning. And I looked at the courses that were offered and created and assembled career pathways. Now, some of y'all might have school choice available to you in your school districts and your school systems where students will do lotteries in, applications in, and it creates movement within the district. So I'm going to share one of my favorite things with you. School choice, as I say, is the restaurant you decide to go to. And for us at Norwalk Public Schools, career pathways is what you decide to order from the menu. And that's something that I just absolutely love sharing with everybody. And so once you've decided potentially through school choice, or maybe your feeder school, which school the student will be going to, they then have a menu called career pathways at that particular school to choose a career pathway. So what we did was I created a career pathway system for the school counselors, grades 6 to 12. It is a live real-time system. This is a screenshot, and this is not actual student data or information that you're going to see. This is one that I replicated. Are you able to see the screen that's come up or not yet?
Not yet, Carol.
Okay. How about now?
Yes.
Excellent. Should I make it a little bit bigger?
Yes, please.
Okay, can everybody see it?
Yes.
Excellent. So this is our career pathway system. It is done through our Google Sheets, which is a live real-time system that I create for the school counselors. And these are actual, again, not real names. You might recognize some of them. So we have our scholar ID, we have our name of our scholar, the grade that they're in, and each counselor has this for them in the beginning of the year uploaded for their caseload. And so they don't have to do any of the lifting. It is provided to them. On the right-hand side, you will see the pathways that have been selected by the students. This is actually a drop-down menu. So they go in, the ID is there, the name is there, the grade is there, and they simply do the drop-down menu. And they select their career pathways. Now that our career pathways have all been selected and we did it on a phase-in from grade 6 to 12, each year our 6th grade counselors will select career pathways in the fall, and our high school counselors will select career pathways with 9th graders in the spring. And so there's a really nice system that's happening. The beauty of this system that can be created is that the real-time data. So now think of pulling your scholars data. Think of this as a tier 1 screener because you can then assemble it into tier 2. So for example, let's say that I'd like to bring in a drumming group and do a school assembly in any grade level. Well, I'm going to invite my music students, my art students to the drumming session, and I'm able to target tier 2 and bringing them down to the particular opportunities. If I have someone coming in and is doing a financial business seminar on a new app or something exciting that's going on or a contest, for example, well, I'm going to invite my entrepreneurship and my marketing pathway students. I'm going to invite the students that are in the business pathway. So I'm really going to be selected and targeted. So this is what it looks like as we have our career pathways and all of our school counselors house the data as the data moves with them. And scholars can choose a general studies pathway that you'll see here in case they're not sure or not ready to choose. And then the next year they can change it to one of the pathways offered at the school. And they don't choose it in sixth grade and move to 12 and that's it. They have an opportunity each year to change their pathway. Oftentimes students don't, but there are a few that do make changes based on the courses they're taking and their interests and passions. Are there any questions or thoughts as to the information I just shared? And also a quick note, it's also shared with building leadership and principals and APs for those experiential opportunities, both inside and outside of school. It's real-time relevant data, which is exciting. And one last note before I take any questions is that we also use it for engagement for attendance because we know what the student's passion is and what career pathway they've selected. And so also having that additional lens of what their passion and interest is helps really with engagement and attendance as well. Okay, so I'd like to now move over to the grades 6 to 12. I wanted to show you what it looks like. So, for example, I was able to take, and I do this each year, I take the data from our career pathways, and I isolated here for us our middle school career pathways data for 25-26. So this represents our 5 middle schools in the district, grades 6, 7th, and 8th, and all of the career pathways that have been selected. So we can really see that the art pathway right now in middle school is the strongest in terms of student passion and interest. And that's really important data for our schools and for the district for programming, for experiences inside and outside of school. And I'd like to share another way we've used this data is I've partnered with CT State Norwalk, who's a tremendous partner for us within the system. And they offer something in the summer called College for Kids. And it's really great programming, grades 2 all the way to grades 12. Well, I share our career pathway data, grades 6 to 12, with the college. And they then build courses around our students' interests so that they're offering courses over the summer that students are really most interested in. So it's another way to use the real-time data to give advantage to our students and offer things that they're most interested in. Does anyone have any questions at all about our career pathways or our career pathway data?
So far, no questions yet.
Okay.
Comments.
I think one of the things that it's important to know is that this was something that we just started by putting one foot in front of the other. I think it's so important to know that you're looking at a Google sheet snapshot and you're looking at this chart, this data graph. I know sometimes this can be overwhelming. And what I want to impress is that if you use Google Sheet or Excel, it can be done if you choose a real-time data source where you can share that info with the counselors and building principals. It can be done. And I built it one grade at a time. And so it can be done slowly and should be done slowly because you want to make the right edits and pivots that you need to make along the way. So these are just some ideas for us. So not to be overwhelming, but different ways we can use our data as well. So I want to move over to something that is new for us this year that I've implemented. It's called our Class of 2026 Post-Secondary Plan Checklist. And this came about because high school counselors are constantly working on post-secondary planning from getting all the emails and calls in the summer, right, that they come back to in August, all the way till June and then beyond, right? They're always working on post-secondary planning. And the need arose from the school counselors to say that what tool can we provide students and families to help give them some independence around post-secondary planning. So I created this class of 2026 post-secondary plan checklist. And this checklist can be replicated or created in your own districts. And I chunked everything down into small sections. I have this for our district in both English and Spanish as that's how we put out our information to our community. And this is a wonderful resource tool that our high school counselors use. Our high school counselors have a caseload of 9 to 12. And this is what they use for our current senior class. They share it in all different ways: Google Classroom, newsletters, emails, workshops, parent meetings, all the ways. And this is a take home for the fridge. This is an electronic reminder. This is something the students and parents will often reference. Um, on their own in between their appointments with their school counselor, which helps foster independence and also helps the counselor to say, well, let's have you work on this particular box here. And then we're going to go ahead and meet again once you have these particular things that are finished. So just take a moment to take a look at each individual box and let me know what y'all think about this. This is a new implemented tool we implemented in the fall. Um, and I'm thinking about implementing one for next year, obviously, for class of 2027, but I'm also thinking about the class of 2028 and maybe doing a phase in. So based on the positive feedback, phasing in now having one for seniors and one for juniors as well. We know there's a lot of anxiety that happens after sophomore year and at the beginning of junior year for post-secondary planning.
Hey, Carol, Jess
Yes.
has a question. How long did it take you to actually create this? Not just this, but this entire system.
That's a great question. So, the workforce development ecosystem, started it 4 years ago and I've been working on it. So the career pathways I did develop in my first year in the role, and then I implemented the systems after it. So I would say it took about 2 years. And then I phased things in so that everyone was comfortable and everyone was really part of the process. That was exceptionally important. And as I say, Jess, we can do one small thing, we can phase in, there's a lot of really exciting possibilities based on the needs of your particular district.
Great. And then we have another question. Great for high schools. Do you have any of this for middle schools?
Oh, that's a great question. Are you talking specifically about well, workforce development is for K to 12. It's for everybody. So when you go
This particular slide.
this particular slide. I don't yet have this for middle school. However, I do have a mind for it for eighth grade to see what we can implement and how we can implement. And so that's something that I'm thinking about. But this was our first run with this year for the seniors. But I love that point and thank you. And that's very important.
So, Carol, we have 10 minutes left. So
Okay.
I just want to make sure you know,
Yes.
I'm aware of time.
All right, thank you so much. I appreciate that. So we're going to pivot district-wide yearly calendars. I'm simply going to show you middle school for our middle school friends that have joined us here today. So these calendars, similar calendars can be found, and this is where I got the idea from in our Connecticut school counseling framework in the back in the appendices. But this is one that I created for our school counselors. I have one K to 5, I have 6 to 8, and I have 9 to 12. And so you'll see, based on the time of year, the types of things that the counselors are engaged in, understanding that different districts have different requirements of school counselors. And so seeing that. So this is just another resource that I've dropped into our Google folder for us as well. And I first started using these as a school counselor when I was pre-K to 8 in terms of how am I assembling my time and what are the things I should be doing. But again, using that as a great reference and tool. So in the interest of time, I do want to point out on EdSite, which is an amazing website for us for data, there is a new labor market dashboard that I wanted to call everyone's attention to. Many of you know Mr. Ajit Paulus-Crease, and he created this particular dashboard. He works for the State Department of Education in, I believe, the data division. And this dashboard was created for us to use. It's a live real-time dashboard, and it's wonderful for any and all workforce development information, post-secondary planning information, and we can toggle the years and we can see the data change in real time. And it's my understanding that we're going to be expecting more things potentially to be reported in the dashboard, maybe potentially, and maybe Dr. Traverso could talk more on this, maybe some IRCs, industry recognized credentials, maybe some trades and all those good things. And so we can kind of drill down and look at,
You can
persistence
actually,
rates.
and if you look where it says college completion, highest credential earned. So those are different areas that you can actually sort of disaggregate your data to break it out a little bit to see where your successes are, but also where you can have some opportunity for growth.
So when you have an opportunity, definitely get into this tool. If you haven't seen it yet, it's a really great supportive measure for all of us. Um, I'm not going to show class of 2027 plus because we talked a lot about that in the student success plan. And this is just its distant cousin for our class of 2026's plan of study as well. We already talked about those. And to some of the questions before about the ecosystem, we do things like high school workshops, family workshops. I talked about workforce development programming and the website. So we're really talking about the big picture. I love this particular graphic. I wanted to share it with y'all because the big picture is where our kiddos going to go and how are we going to help them realize their post-secondary plans and dreams. I wanted to turn now to staff collaboration and supports, which is exceptionally important. At the schools, we have our care coordination teams, our data teams, our SAT teams, all of which we're a part of. We also have teams like that, such as our attendance team at the district that supports and works with our 21 schools attendance teams as well. One of the things I think it's very important to touch upon is school counselor professional development. That is something that when I stepped into the role, it is very important and essential to me to have school counselor voice in the professional development that they receive. They are the principals of their classroom. They are the ones that know best what their needs are and the needs of their students as well. And so each year in August, we start a lot of chart paper and we assemble into teams of grade bands and they do their grade bands for us together as a team in terms of what PD that they want and need for the year. And also they're split into years of service in the profession, letting us know what they want and need. And then they spend the year really working with their information to serve them in terms of professional development.
Oh,
I would
looks like she froze. There she is. You froze for a second,
I
Carol.
did. Okay, sorry about that. I'm on a clock here. I can't freeze too much. All right. So so we've had a tremendous amount of positive feedback that they're getting what they want and need, and that's important. Um, Another important piece to talk about is I've created a practicum and internship program at Norwalk Public Schools. I work with our colleges and universities that have our school counseling programs, and we bring in about anywhere between 9 and 10 practicum and internship students per year that support the work on a rolling, rotating basis for our school counselors K to 12. And that is so imperative. We've also had an opportunity to make hires of our practicum and internship students when the time comes, if we have openings. And so it's really nice to help give back to the profession and offer opportunities for practicum and internship as well. And it's been very helpful to the school counselors. And I'm also very crafty. So I made in the middle, where's the school counselor for the school counselors with their little clothespin. And that's on the door because we know that the door is always knocking and the phone is always ringing. So they have them, where is the school counselor? So to help set expectation. This is just some of our workforce development programming in the middle. Norwalk Helps is also on our website. I demoed it at our community of practice. It is a mental health and wellness resource that can be used. It is not Norwalk specific, so please take a look when you have a moment as well. And it's a great resource for students and families. And just gave you an idea of our internship program that we have for our students. And also on the right side with Connecticut State Norwalk, we have our certification programming as well, just part of supporting credentialing and workforce and getting kiddos internships as well. I want to turn it back over to Dr. Traverso.
Hey, thank you so much. And I just put in the chat that I just want to talk about the resource, the community resource that you have for Norwalk Helps is fantastic. We have used that throughout Connecticut as an example, an exemplar for providers in our community and how well they're connecting with the Norwalk Public School. So just want to give you a shout out there, Carol. And lastly, thank you so much for your time. This time, if you have any questions, this is the time to ask. But our next session will be April 1st, I promise. Oh, Kimberly, I see the resources in the shared drive. Am I missing access to the slides from the past two sessions? Very informative. Thank you for sharing your work. Thank you, Kimberly. We did not share the PowerPoint slides. Carol, do you want to think about possibly putting that into the Google folder as well?
Sure, we could do that. I could work with Craig on that, I believe.
Yes, absolutely. Okay, any other, Jess, when I was a school counselor, the PD was rarely relevant. So it is wonderful to hear that you are incorporating PD that is relevant for school counselors. I agree, Jess, 100%. And lastly, thank you for the workshop opportunity. Thank you for being here. We really do appreciate it. We look forward to the next session with you all.
Thank you so much. And again, just if you were not with us in the first session and you're joining us for the first time in session two, please be sure to put your email in the chat for me, and I will be sending you the invitation link to our drop-in thought partnership meetings.
And I do have three as of right now for you. Okay, and I certainly will add Kimberly. Thank you, everyone, and I hope you have a wonderful day and week.